Was Sasha Banks nervous? Or was Sasha Banks under the influence of something during her debut at Wrestle Kingdom 17?
Notorious. Big it up, big it up. Yeah. Here we go, go. Here we go.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Casual Wrestling Daily Podcast. I am your host, the Notorious Nerdy D, and tonight I am about to break down pro wrestling for all the true casual fans. So whether you are listening on podcast networks or watching on YouTube, make sure to like and leave a comment on this week's episode. With that being said, let's jump right into our first topic of today. All right, so I wanted to do this topic on Monday, but I felt like the Uncle Howdy stuff was more time sensitive, and I knew that today would be an opportunity to talk about this with not a lot going on yesterday except the Wrestle Kingdom stuff that I'll get into in the rapid fire news. But last week on SmackDown, Charlotte returned to defeat Ronda Rousey and win the SmackDown's Women's Championship and become one step closer to breaking her dad's world title record. The response to this was, it was polarizing. Like, I always jump on Twitter immediately to try to catch the vibe of the IWC, and then I try to, just check in with some of my casual wrestling friends to see what their vibes are, and it definitely was, there were two sides to the coin. There was the IWC that immediately started to complain about another, Charlotte Flair title run, and my casual friends kind of seemed to embrace the results and accept that this might have been the best path moving forward. So the question I wanted to ask and sort of answer today was, why is the IWC so upset that Charlotte Flair won the SmackDown's Women's Championship again? And it kind of start this off, I always, when I say things like this, the immediate response is, no, you're making this up. There was no response like this. So I went to Twitter and I pulled just three tweets about Charlotte Flair winning the championship so we can use these as reference to kind of look back to. The first tweet says, at WWE. Here we go. The first tweet says, at WWE has too much love for Miss Charlotte Flair. Too much talent getting ignored because someone with a Flair name. WWE has gotten boring and predictable. So that's the first tweet. Second tweet says, Charlotte Flair winning the SmackDown Women's title was a horrendous decision. No wonder why Sasha Banks left. And I'm happy that she did, and that we thought the women's division would get better once Charlotte was off TV. Now we're back in the same old shit, especially with boring Ronda Rousey. Some of these tweets are hard to read. Some of these people need to work on their English skills immediately, because this is copy and pasted, and I'm trying to read this and make sense of it. But that's the second tweet, right? Here's another tweet. And these are just three random ones I pulled. Why should Charlotte get a title opportunity? She has nothing more than all the other superstars. She is just like Roman Reigns, getting whatever she wants for no good reason. Flair should nicely go to the back of the line. She is nothing special. It is really starting to become boring. So you see a theme going on, right? You see the argument being made here is that Charlotte Flair winning the title is being proposed as boring. Now, allow me to play devil's advocate here and allow me to help these people articulate and make sense of this argument, right? What I think these people are trying to say is Charlotte Flair winning the title again breeds a lack of competition. Because if Charlotte Flair consistently defeats the same opponents and comes back and wins the title over and over, there's not going to be any strong contenders left to challenge her for the title, and it's going to become predictable, and it's going to become less exciting to watch. This is the exact same argument I made with Bianca Belair. When you build these megastars, when you build these unbeatable superstars, it by default causes the rest of the roster to look weak and to feel boring. Now, the second argument you can make is overexposure. If every time Charlotte Flair is featured on WWE television, she is holding the title, it's going to feel like she's dominating a division that has no room for anybody else to shine. It's the Charlotte Flair show. Every time she shows back up, she's world champion and nobody can touch her. And so I understand that argument. It also, to me, the argument can be made that it leads to limited character development, not just for other wrestlers, but for Charlotte herself. Charlotte will become synonymous with holding the title, and it'll be difficult for her character to undergo any meaningful growth that isn't connected to having the world title. So that leads to a lack of depth. That leads her to feel one-dimensional. And I can make that argument. I can see how the IWC makes that argument. You can make the argument for decreased stakes. If Charlotte Flair is seen as unbeatable, it diminishes the drama and the tension in any of her matches. Same argument I made with Bianca Belair. It just makes it feel less compelling to watch. And I think most importantly, this is what the IWC leans on, and it's fan fatigue. That they're using this word boring to explain fan fatigue. Because if Charlotte is constantly winning, it leads to a fatigue. It leads to a decrease in interest. There's no parity. This is especially true if you don't put her immediately in some kind of storyline with character development that is immediately enticing to all fans, casual and IWC. I think that fatigue, it really starts to set in. Now, I think it's important when we talk about Charlotte Flair, we have to talk about her accomplishments. Because if you're going to make all these arguments, then you have to talk about the things she's accomplished and really what that means to the industry. She's been a 6-time Raw Women's Champion, right? The inaugural Raw Women's Champion. She's been a 7-time SmackDown Women's Champion. She's the current Women's Champion. She's been a 2-time NXT Women's Champion. She held the WWE Divas Championship. She's held the Tag Team Championship with Asuka. She's the 5th woman to win the Triple Crown, the 4th woman to win the Grand Slam. She won the NXT Women's Championship tournament in 2014, and she's won a Royal Rumble. Now, I say all this because you have to make the counter argument of when you do all that kind of stuff, you're a recognizable figure, and you're probably what's best for ratings. So this is the argument that I want to present to the IWC, the counter argument. So this is why Charlotte Flair makes sense as being champion. Number one, it is obvious that Triple H is leaning on his veterans going into WrestleMania 39. You have Becky Lynch being leaned on. You have Roman Reigns being leaned on. You apparently have John Cena possibly being brought in. You have The Rock being leaned on. And now you see Charlotte Flair is being leaned on. So it's obvious that Triple H, his plan going into Hollywood is not to build new stars. He could do that next year. Triple H's plan going into WrestleMania 30 or 39 is to lean on his established stars. Now, you have to look at, when you assess Charlotte Flair winning the title, you have to sort of look at the landscape of the entire SmackDown women's division. And first, we can start off by talking about Ronda Rousey. And Ronda Rousey's title run, taking it away from Liv Morgan, while I don't think Liv Morgan was doing just a terrible job, I also don't think she was doing a great job. I think she was learning on the job. I think that we can kind of definitively say Ronda Rousey's title run has been boring and stale. There's been nothing exciting about this last Ronda Rousey title run. It's felt transitional. And I've said that she feels more like she belongs, this is Ronda Rousey, feels more like she belongs in the tag team division with Shayna Baszler heading into WrestleMania. And this Charlotte Flair win, it set that up perfectly. We can toy around heading into WrestleMania with a couple Charlotte and Ronda matches to pass the time. But Ronda ultimately needs to take Shayna Baszler, and they need to go win the women's tag team titles and make those relevant. And that would help the state of the women's division. We also have to ask the question, who are the other real options heading into WrestleMania 39 that you could put the SmackDown women's title on? I mean, I went to WWE.com and I pulled the SmackDown roster. And so you tell me, you guys, someone make an argument for these people, and then I'll listen. Make an argument for putting the title on Emma going into WrestleMania 39. I can't make the argument. Make it for Lacey Evans, who appears and disappears and changes gimmicks more than anybody on the WWE roster. I'm not making that argument. Make the argument to put it back on Liv Morgan. I wouldn't do that. Liv Morgan is on the brink of creating a character that means something and creating value to her persona, where the next time she gets that title, I think everybody's going to pay attention. But she needs time. She needs time to build up this character and flesh it out. And the last thing that she needs is to throw the title back on her going into WrestleMania 39 and put a giant spotlight on her that she doesn't need at the moment. Make an argument for Naomi. Okay. Make an argument for Naomi coming back and winning the SmackDown Women's Championship. I can make that argument probably, because I can make the argument that maybe you pull some of the attention off of Sasha Banks and you pull some of the attention off of that. But from a story-wise perspective, you can't really reward her for running away. You can't reward her for running off with Sasha Banks and coming back and just allowing her to have a championship title opportunity. That doesn't make any sense. So then make the argument for Raquel Rodriguez. I think the argument legitimately can be made for Raquel Rodriguez. She is a star in the making, but I think that it would make more sense to have her win the title at WrestleMania rather than pre-WrestleMania. So if you could put Raquel Rodriguez in the ring with Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, that makes more sense than her randomly winning it off of Ronda Rousey 2 weeks before the Royal Rumble. Then make an argument for Shayna Baszler, Sonya Deville, Xia Li, Valhalla, Zelina Vega. You can't, they're just, that's the SmackDown women's roster heading into WrestleMania. And not that those aren't serviceable wrestlers. Not that with the right booking, any of those wrestlers could be champion and legitimately could be entertaining, but not when you have 2.5 months till WrestleMania. You can't fix the booking that's been done up until this point. And that's why I say Charlotte Flair was the only person that made sense. Get the title onto her. Start working out whatever storyline you're going to work out heading into WrestleMania, and just, Triple H, lean on your veterans. Lean on your stars, because that's what you have to do at this point. You have created a lack of compelling storylines outside of just leaning on your stars and who are already kind of established people that fans know. So you have to lean on that. So what does the path to WrestleMania look like now? Charlotte Flair's champion. I see 3 possibilities. 3 legitimate possibilities, with a 4th that I absolutely hate to even put out into the atmosphere. Path number 1, I would love to see Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch for the SmackDown Women's Championship, labeled as the greatest of all time match. You can sell that. You can sell that in the same way that you sold Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar as being the most stupendous match of all time. You could sell to the casual audience and to the WWE universe Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch being a match at WrestleMania to be the greatest of all time. That can be a main event. That can main event night 1. No problem. You have all of the footage, all of the bad blood from the last time these two got in the ring together, when Charlotte threw the belt on the ground and Becky beat her. You have all of that. You have all that to build on. So this match writes itself, and it's big enough for WrestleMania. Then you have the rumored match. This is what the dirt sheets have been rumoring, is a Charlotte versus Bianca Belair. I'm not mad at this. Bianca's going to have to drop her title, which I'm not mad at that idea. And it allows Bianca Belair to slide right back into the underdog position, because if there's anybody that Bianca Belair will play underdog to, it's possibly the greatest women's wrestler of all time, Charlotte Flair. So that makes sense. I'm okay with that option. Those are 2 viable options moving towards WrestleMania. And the third option is Rhea Ripley winning the Royal Rumble and foregoing Bianca Belair and creating a match against Charlotte Flair, which I think with the right booking leading into WrestleMania would work as well. But those are 3 possibilities. The fourth possibility that I don't even really want to talk about is the idea of Charlotte Flair fighting Ronda Rousey again at WrestleMania. Don't do it. It's not. We're done with that. We've moved past Ronda and Charlotte. We could, if you want to have a couple matches before Royal Rumble and at Elimination Chamber or whatever's next, if you want to do that, I'm okay. But we're not doing that again at WrestleMania. Not again. So, I mean, to kind of wrap it all up, I'll make the argument. Charlotte Flair, that was the right decision. They pulled the trigger. That was the right. This was good booking. I will give Triple H his props in this moment that was the right decision. Ronda Rousey was going nowhere. Ronda Rousey belongs in the tag team division. You had nobody else that you could put this title on. Put it on Charlotte Flair, and let's move forward and let's lean on the veterans going into WrestleMania. Charlotte Flair has, she has the pedigree to build up whoever's put into that program going into WrestleMania. If Charlotte puts them over, it creates an immediate star. Now, the question is asked, is Charlotte going to stay babyface? I think so. I've seen a lot of skepticism of 3 weeks and she's back to being a heel. I think that Charlotte wants to prove she can work as a babyface, and I think she can. I think you saw that crowd reaction. I think you saw the way she kind of embraced the fans. I think she could take a different tone and approach this time, and I definitely think that she'll be able to be embraced by the fans through her WrestleMania run this year. But, wrestling's a complex art form, right? You get the opinions of both sides. You get the casual fans who are willing to be a little more accepting, and you get the IWC who are very critical of everything. But I think that, I think time will tell how we end up feeling about this. I'm willing to give it time all the way through WrestleMania 39 just to see ultimately which side of this was right on this equation. All right, guys, let me take a short break to remind you that I've been putting a lot of time and effort into creating this podcast, and I am grateful for all the support I have received so far. If you are enjoying the show, I would really appreciate if you considered supporting me on Patreon. By joining the Patreon community, you'll be able to help me continue producing high-quality content and bringing new and interesting ideas to the table. Plus, you will get access to exclusive bonus content and other perks starting late January. I am so grateful for the support you guys give me, and I can't wait to see how this channel continues to grow. If you are interested in joining the Patreon community, just click the link in the description of this video or go to patreon.com/thecasualwrestlingshow. Thank you guys again for listening. I can't wait for you guys to see the cool stuff we do this year. And I'd like to give a shout out to the current Patreon producers of this show. It's Zinni, Randall Beatley, Randall, tell me if I'm saying that right. Randall Beatley, who is the host of the Slapping Meat Wrestling podcast. So go check that out. And Ian the Noobs Newberry. So thank you guys for being Patreon producers of the show. Let's get back to it. All right, let's get into some quick hit news here. And I want to start off with a little bit of a disclaimer, because the first story I have today, I want to approach with maybe like white gloves on. Everything I'm about to say is my opinion. I have no factual information about the things I'm about to say. So I just want to kind of pre-warn that I am going to be making some assumptions based on what I saw that may be wrong. But I'm going to give my opinion on that. So let's start off with Sasha Banks made her debut at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestle Kingdom 17 event Wednesday morning, laying out Kairi Sane and challenging her to a match for the next month in San Jose. Sasha appeared to be nervous, critics said, and botched her finishing maneuver on Kairi. But I have a different question. And I want to be sensitive, but I want to talk about this, and I want us to be real about this, and I want your guys' opinion as we do this. I have a different question. Was Sasha Banks nervous, or was Sasha Banks under the influence of something during her debut at Wrestle Kingdom 17? Now, I want to approach this very sensitively, because I can't... this is all going to be alleged. None of this is defined. I have no information. I'm just going off of my eye test. And I want to start off by playing the clip, the audio of that promo she cut yesterday. And I want you guys to listen real carefully to the way she slurs her words.
Curry, oh, congratulations on making history tonight.
Okay, so listen to that. Let's start off with that. At first, I thought that she had slid into an accent. I thought at first Sasha Banks had slid into possibly, I don't know exactly the politically correct way to say it, but I thought she had slid into like Japanese tone, to speaking like somebody would if they were portraying a Japanese person. But upon further review and listening more, it really sounds to me like she's slurring her words.
Curry, oh, congratulations on making history tonight.
Now you hear that slide into the word tonight? It feels to me like that doesn't feel like nerves. That doesn't feel like somebody who's nervous to me.
I also know a thing or two about making history. I am here in New Japan and Stardom to make some more. Allow me to introduce myself.
All right, so you heard that. You heard that. You heard the slur in the word introduce. I don't feel like that's nerves. To me, that doesn't feel like somebody who's nervous. This speech pattern and the methodical pattern that she's taking, it feels to me like there's more to it. Feels to me like somebody who is not able to be 100% coherent and gather their words.
To introduce myself. I'm the standard. The conversation.
You heard that? You heard the conversation. That doesn't, none of this sounds like nerves to me. It really doesn't.
The blueprint and the CEO of this women's division.
That was a slip. New Japan Pro doesn't have a women's division. So that was a slip. You know, could be nervous, could be just completely under the influence of something and have no clue what you're talking about at this point.
Women's division. So Kairi-san, enjoy your IWGP Women's Championship while you can. Because that Battle in the Valley in San Jose, I'm gonna leave you bankrupt, bitch. And you can bank on money.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't like to speculate, and I don't want to start this big thing if I'm just naive or ignorant to what's going on. There's parts of me that goes, is that how you're supposed to cut a promo when you're in Japan? If it is, it's fucking terrible. But more importantly to me, I've been around enough people who drink. I don't drink. I've never been drunk, so I can't speak from experience. But I've been around enough people who drink to know that's what they sound like. That's what they sound like to me. And that's what Sasha Banks sounded like. That's what Mercedes Money sounded like to me. It didn't sound like somebody. Now, could it have been nerves mixed with, a little alcohol consumption pre-match to try to kill the nerves? It could, but you have to ask the question, is that okay? Would it be okay if Sasha Banks was under the influence of anything going out there to perform? Because she did botch whatever move she was trying to perform. She ended up botching it. And she could have put Kairi Sane in danger. So I don't know. I don't know for sure. I want to look more into this. I want your guys' opinions on this. But like from what I heard and what I saw, it appeared to me that Sasha Banks was not 100% in a stable state of mind. And so I want your guys' opinion on that. I'm not going to go real deep into it today. Maybe tomorrow we talk about it more once I hear what you guys think. But that's kind of my thoughts from that. I see people, the IWC, they don't really give a shit. They're just excited she's back, and they're claiming this is going to be the greatest thing ever. I'm not sure about that. Like, I noticed a huge difference in her personality. One could have been because of the reasons I stated. Two, just when you take away the production, the music, and all of the glitz and glamour, I don't know that Sasha Banks holds up. I don't know that Mercedes Moné can work long term. Let's move on to, there's a new report from PW Insider, Mike Johnson, that says Alexa Bliss is expected to be playing the heel from now on. This comes after weeks of teasing her conflicted personality. It looks like her slow descent into madness is locked in for good. You can read more about it on the article on PW Insider. But the question is will WWE fans embrace the idea of actually booing Alexa Bliss and cheering Bianca Belair? It didn't work that way. It didn't appear that way on Monday Night Raw. I definitely heard the crowd begin to turn on Bianca Belair. So I don't, this is those booking questions that I don't understand. This is when I begin to question Triple H a little bit. Is there's some confliction here. Because if we look at SmackDown, Bray Wyatt is working as a babyface. That's plain and simple, right? Bray Wyatt is working as a babyface against LA Knight, who is playing the heel. Now, where Uncle Howdy comes in, is he playing a heel as well? That is kind of left to be seen. But how is Alexa Bliss supposed to play heel on Raw under the influence of possibly Uncle Howdy without any explanation? It's so convoluted. This is what I talked about the other day when I talked about these complex storylines with all these branching fingers that don't really make sense to a casual fan. I don't think that Alexa Bliss is going to get the reaction that WWE thinks she's going to get. I think fans are going to embrace the darker side of Alexa Bliss. I think fans have been so tired of this mundane version of Alexa Bliss that they are going to welcome this dark change. And they're going to cheer for her. And you have to question, what position does that put Bianca Belair in? Because if they continue to force Bianca to work as a basically unliked babyface, that can get messy real fast. So I'm interested to see how moving forward this works for Alexa Bliss, and if will fans embrace what WWE is trying to do here, or is she just going to, is she going to be over with the crowd and be a likable heel? Third story, there are rumors swirling around that the Hurt Business, Bobby Lashley's old stable with Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, may be getting the band back together. The group originally disbanded in January of 2022, although Alexander and Benjamin continued to team up under the same name for a while afterwards. It looked like MVP may be behind the reunion, but nothing has been confirmed yet. The question is, are we excited about the possibility of the Hurt Business reuniting? So if you didn't catch it on Monday Night Raw, MVP was seen in the background talking to Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, possibly organizing something. So we got to talk about it, right? What does this mean for Omos? Where is Omos? That's a question that may be for another day. But I think, more importantly, am I excited for the possibility of the Hurt Business reuniting? Yes. I think that Bobby Lashley works well as the leader of a faction. I think Bobby Lashley works better when he has somebody who can speak with him, not for him. Bobby's doing a much better job of cutting promos these days, but I think that with MVP by his side, I think it makes Bobby Lashley feel much more complete. And I think Bobby Lashley as a heel definitely works. I think he can work the position of a likable heel, or he can work the position of just a straight up despised heel. But I do think that bringing the Hurt Business back together, especially in a run towards WrestleMania, another faction like that works. I think it could work in Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley storytelling, if that's where we're going. I don't know where we're going with Bobby Lashley. I don't know exactly if we're headed towards another Brock Lesnar match or if there's something else in store for him, but I definitely think that having the Hurt Business back together is good for Bobby Lashley and good for them as an entire group. What's up, guys? I have an exciting contest for you today. If you go to Spotify or Apple Podcast and leave us a 5-star review on this podcast and tag us on one of your social media accounts, you will be entered to win a $25 WWE gift card. It is the perfect opportunity to show your support for the show and to get your hands on some sweet WWE merchandise. The winner will be announced at the end of January, so make sure to follow us on social media to stay updated. Don't wait. Leave your review. Tag us on social media to qualify. We'll contact the winner through their social media account. So make sure to follow us and stay updated. Good luck, and thank you guys for your continued support. All right, so it is time for today's Change My Mind question of the day. And today I'm going to be asking you guys, I'm going to be making the definitive statement, and I want you guys to change my mind by either duetting this on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, or answering in the comment section. And today my statement is, John Cena is still the biggest draw in professional wrestling. He is bigger than Seth Rollins, he is bigger than Brock Lesnar, and he is bigger than Roman Reigns. Change my mind. So duet or comment that, and let's have a discussion about that tomorrow. So yesterday I asked the question for someone to change my mind on Austin Theory being a cookie cutter, boring new character. And nobody could do it. Nobody offered it. Everybody just wrote L take, but nobody offered an argument. And when they did offer arguments, it didn't make any sense to me. The main argument that people tried to present to me was that Theory's being taken way more seriously now. By who? Y'all keep saying that. By who? Theory was money in the held the Money in the Bank briefcase. He was already a United States champion. What has changed so much for Austin Theory? Who's taking him more serious? Somebody actually wrote to me, bro, he just had an amazing match. I don't know what you're talking about. He doesn't suck the energy out of Monday Night Raw. The main event was literally a 10 out of 10. Get your head checked and actually watch WWE and stop hating on the young talent. Joshua B28, I'm not hating on the young talent. I don't know what match you watched. That wasn't 10 out of 10. That was pretty standard stuff for Monday Night Raw. That was a pretty standard Monday Night Raw main event. It wasn't 10 out of 10. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you're watching. I don't know what you're seeing, but what match did I miss? What part of that match did I fall asleep in? Because it wasn't a bad match, but it wasn't, it's cookie cutter. It's straight out of the WWE playbook. There's nothing exciting about Austin Theory anymore. At least he was dislikable. Like there's that old saying that like, as long as you're making headlines, as long as you're getting attention, that's a good thing. What is there to notice about Austin Theory? At this point, Austin Theory needs to turn babyface. Because if he's just going to be aggressive and he's just going to be serious, then he would work better as a babyface. But nobody changed my mind this week. Nobody did. There was nothing to change my mind. The argument that Theory is taken way more seriously, by who? Tell me by who? He's putting on 10 out of 10 matches. That looked like the same Austin Theory. Just because he didn't have a cell phone, he's wrestling the same way. And he's even sliding into some of those mannerisms that I like, but he's not able to lay into them, right? He rolled out of the ring, acted like he was leaving. But this is the new Austin Theory that we're supposed to take seriously. Get out of here, man. Y'all gonna have to do better if you're gonna change my mind on topics like that. But this week, change my mind. John Cena is the biggest draw in professional wrestling, even though he's not a full-time wrestler. That is all the time I have today. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Casual Wrestling Daily Podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you have any suggestions or thoughts for future episodes, please don't hesitate to reach out and drop those in the comments section. And don't forget to join us tomorrow, same time, same place, for more wrestling talk. Until then, it's time to ring the final bell.
Step in the ring, if you ready, let's go. Ay, casual wrestling community show. You already know, talking WWE. Keep it rolling and hosted by Notorious Nerdy D. Don't be sure that you gon' find. Tune in cause it's online. Hit 'em with a figure 4 leg lock, power driver or clothesline. We bringing that heat like for show, but you should